Alright, so I think I'm recording. Let's sketch the graph of this cosine. The parent function, the normal cosine curve, has a center line that's the x-axis. This vertical shift of down 1, I know that my new center line is going to be down here at y equals -1. And the amplitude is 3, so I know 3 units above this line and 3 units below this line will be my max and mins. So let's draw a dashed line there. If I add 3 to -1, I'll be up here at y equals 2. And if I subtract 3, I'll be down here at -4. Alright, so every point on this horizontal line has a y coordinate that is 2, and every point on this horizontal line has a y coordinate that's -4. And if I add 2 plus -4, that's -2. Divided by 2, that's -1, so hey, I'm at the center there. So I've got symmetry going on, everything looks good. Alright, now the basic cosine curve, I know the sketch what it looks like. It has a maximum value up here at 1 when x is 0, then it comes down and touches its center line, then at pi it's down at its minimum, at 3 pi over 2 it's back up to the center line, and at 2 pi it's back up to its maximum again. Alright, so let's get a starting point. Let's look at where this point is transformed onto our graph. So this x over 2, I know that if this x over 2 were replaced with 0, that the cosine of 0 is 1, and that's a maximum value for the cosine. And 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So when x is, and the solution to this, y is obviously x equals 0. So when x equals 0, I'll be at my maximum value. And here, 2 is the maximum value. Now, let's determine what the period is. So the period is always 2 pi divided by the coefficient in front of x. In this case, it's 1/2. And to divide by 1/2 is the same as to multiply by 2. So the length of, not x, the length of this period is 4 pi. And I know that my maximum values, the next maximum will occur at the start of the next cycle, which will be 4 pi units apart. So if this is a max, then 4 pi units away from that, either to the right or to the left, you'll have to be at a maximum value. Alright, so I know the symmetry of this graph as well. You know, here in the middle, I'll be at the minimum value. So the halfway distance between 0 and 4 is 2, and I should be down here at that point. It should, my graph should cross here. So let's figure out if when x is 2 pi, if it really is -4. Alright, so if I plug in a couple ways I could do it. If I replace 2 pi, if we replace x with 2 pi, that's the cosine of pi. The cosine of pi is -1. 3 times -1 is -3, and -3 minus 1 is -4. So I know that at 2 pi I'm at a minimum. Alright, now I believe that the halfway distance between this max and this min, which is easy to see right now, that that's pi, I believe that's going to be the first time that I cross my center line. So if this x over 2 were allowed to equal, well, this x coordinate here is pi over 2. So if x were allowed to be pi, when I replace it, I'd have pi over 2, and I'd be at my center line. So here at pi, I'm at my center line. Alright, everything's making sense. Now, the next time I'm at my center line is half a period away. Half of 4 pi is 2 pi. 1 pi plus 2 pi is 3 pi. So I'm here. So here I have my 5 major points, right? And I know that my cosine curve kind of curves in a little bit. It's not just straight points. So I know that this kind of curves in like this. And if I plugged in more values, I could justify it, but they typically don't do that. So here is one cycle, the length of which here is 4 pi, one period, for this cosine curve. I know, because of symmetry, that this graph should be symmetric with respect to the y-axis. So if I want to continue my graph over here on the left, this positive pi here, over at the center line here, it's going to be at negative pi. And this 2 pi that it's at its minimum, over here at negative 2 pi, it'll be at its minimum. At 3 pi, it's intersecting the center line, so over here at negative 3 pi it is. And over here at 4 pi, it's at its max, so at negative 4 pi, it'll be at its max. Alright, so let's sketch this in, and it should look symmetric with respect to the y-axis if I've picked these right points. And there we have it. So there you go. There's a quick sketch of this graph. And I don't really, if you want to put in some more points and more details, hey, that's fine. But that's all that is expected of us, is generally to get these 5 points, the 5 major points from the basic cosine curve, to transform them onto this new graph. So hey, I hope that helps.